What are your thoughts on tattoos and tattoo removal?
Maybe a little bit controversial, especially because I'm sitting at a table with two people with quite a bit of tattoos.
So I've been hearing a lot of information about AirPods not being good for you. What are your thoughts? And if you don't like them, can you recommend a healthier alternative?
And I love your shirt today. And this kind of speaks it. It says, feed cows grass again. Caffeine and energy drinks. Have you covered this on your podcast? ?
This is theatrics, but you're not theatrics, right? Like that's where
Believe me, you're bitching on social media. It's quite theatrical. What's up and welcome to the Art of Being Well. My friends, we're giving away some free healthy stuff. You know, pretty much every Ask Me Anything episode, we have a fun giveaway for multiple winners of this episode. And we're giving away free supplement protocol stacks. So we have at drwillcole.com. We're giving away free functional medicine telehealth consults. We're giving away, what else? Free signed books. Did I say that already?
Yeah.
You didn't, but
Oh, okay.
No,
you could pick the inflammation spectrum, ketotarian, intuitive fasting, or gut feelings. Anyway, so you can either get scheduled or get sent those. If you win, for a chance to win, head on over to Apple Podcasts and rate and review The Art of Being Well there. Tell us what you love about the show. You can leave your Instagram handle in the Apple Podcast review itself or take a screenshot of that Apple Podcast review and message me on Instagram at Dr. Will Cole. And then the team will go through the messages on Instagram as well as read the Apple Podcast reviews themselves. I read them too. Love them. Super. I mean, honestly, some of the most thoughtful, kind reviews. And they'll randomly pick winners. Then they'll reach out to all the winners, and you can tell them what you want: either the protocol, the supplement protocol, the free signed books, or the telehealth consult. All right, good luck. All right, as I kind of said at the top of the show, about twice a month we have entire episodes devoted to your burning health questions. So submit them because we add them to this living Google document and get to as many of them as possible in the Ask Me Anything episode. So they could be about your own health condition, health questions that you had. Maybe it was a health study that you saw in the scientific research. Maybe it was some wellness trend that you saw on social media, some fad thing that you want to get our hot take on it from a functional medicine perspective. And help me out every Ask Me Anything episode. We have two brilliant members from my clinical team, our telehealth team. They're functional diagnostic nutrition practitioners. You know and love them, Andrea and Emily. What's up?
hey, how's it going?
Hey, I love these. I do.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So let's dive in. So you guys pulled the questions for today's
Yes.
episode. So yeah, whoever wants to go first, throw them at me.
Yeah, I'll start.
Literally, but
Well,
don't throw
I might,
anything
I
at
might,
me.
I might.
I mean,
You
if
know.
you
Take it
want
easy.
me to gently toss my phone to your face, I will do so.
So I'm going to start us off. I love this first question. It was made for me to ask you.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right. Dr. Cole, spill the tea.
As I drink my tea.
As you,
I'm not gonna.
yeah, and we don't want like your yerba mate. We want like full spicy chai tea version of this. Okay.
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 All right.
All right. We saw that you were in DC last week, so we need to know the behind the scenes on the FDA removal ban on artificial dyes. Is it actually banned? Hearing some conflicting information on this that it might just be political theatrics. So would love an update from you, Dr. Cole.
Okay, so I get a call from Vani Hari, who's the food babe, the couple days before, and she said, "Can you be at DC on such and such date at such and such time? I can't tell you why." And I'm like, okay, so I have a work trip in, well, I don't want to digress, but I took my son to Coachella. That's a different story for a different episode.
We'll spill that
But your
tea
boy
another
was
time.
at Coachella, and it was
Drinking his tea
I
in
was drinking
bed.
my yerba mate tea. Actually, if you listen to last Ask Me Anything episode, we talked about yerba mate. Well, they had organic yerba mate tea at Coachella, so that's what I drank the entire time. But you know, I won't digress on Dr. Will Cole at Coachella, but it was a thing. After that, well, I was going to stay in Palm Springs to visit this wellness center that's been asking me for a long time, right? So Vani's like, "Okay, can you come?" I'm like, "All right." I had to rearrange my entire trip because Vani said be in DC. It's important. I go.
Yeah.
So I made it happen. I moved some things around. I went from Palm Springs, flew to DC, and then I had to go fly back. I was only there for 24 hours and flew back to Palm Springs to finish my work trip there. Anyway, so I get to DC late night, the night before, and we all meet at the outside of we went to lunch at True Food Kitchen. How detailed tea do you want, people?
Wow.
Well,
I'll take you a whole itinerary if you
I love
want.
this.
Well,
I love this.
I don't know if tea is itinerary, but I'm enjoying it. You can tell me more about
For
the
me,
matcha.
itineraries are very tea.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone knows me, my main question originally was, "What are you wearing?"
Okay.
Okay.
So if you really want to know the truth, I'm more of a casual type guy, but I'm like, okay, if we're going to go to DC, if we're going to end up at the
All
Hubert
out.
Humphrey, I had to go to Macy's upon Andrea's suggestion. I got a Macy's suit.
It was a nice suit.
It was a
was
nice
great.
suit.
Yeah,
Tommy
I'd vote for you in that suit.
Okay. I am not running for any public office, but I had to look presentable, and I was not in my normal functional medicine telehealth gear. I had to step it up for the proper setting. So I got a suit. We went to Terrific Kitchen. I went with Dr. Josh Axe and Dr.
Matcha horchata? Did you get the matcha
yeah.
horchata?
Yeah.
How many?
I got 2 entrees, if you want to know.
Okay,
I
this
got-
is the tea that I want. What
okay.
did you eat in
I got
your
the
food?
air fried gluten free chicken sandwich original. No awesome sauce because I don't do nightshades. I got the gluten free bun toasted. I don't do lots of gluten free, but I have it for that thing. It's worth it. Like, when do you get an
100%.
air fried chicken sandwich?
100%.
Dang it. I'm going to have it. And then I had the grass fed steak with just lots of onions on it because I like onions. And then I got 2 entrees. The server didn't know how to handle us because we were like a crew coming in there. It just was
With your
we
specific
lovingly
food
call
needs.
ourselves, because people, it's a pejorative now against us, is big wellness. We're apparently big wellness
Oh,
guys.
wow.
I like it.
That's what the haters say.
I love it.
News to me.
Yeah, we're gonna make sweatshirts for you guys. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, well yeah, okay. I'm only guys getting into that, but yeah, the and then I had, what else did I get? I got the matcha horchata,
We love it.
and then
Prickly pear?
Courtney Swan. Yes, to drink. I got a ice black tea, prickly pear. You know my TFK
I know.
order.
I know you're
100%.
drinking.
So I went with Courtney Swan. Shout out to Courtney, Real Foodology. She's been on the pod, and Dr. Josh Axe. Vani Hari was leaving. She came and just hung out with us for a couple of minutes, but she had to go get changed because a lot of us flew in that morning. I flew in like at midnight that morning. It's like, did I say we shared the cookie?
No.
We shared the cookie.
You
Is it the
shared
sourdough cookie that they have?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
We're going to lunch after this, right?
yeah, I know. Seriously, I'm fasting right now, so it's like that's cookie sounds good. The so we show up to the Hubert Humphrey building, which then Josh leans over and says, "Who's Hubert Humphrey?" Which I didn't know. I'd heard of the name before,
Oh.
Yeah.
but then I had to go research. So it's like, of
100%.
course, my Enneagram 5-ness. I told them all. I wrote a book report on Hubert
I
Humphrey.
expect that 5-page essay on
I'm
my
surprised you
desk.
didn't bring a PowerPoint with it.
And Josh said something funny. He was like, if you're listening to this episode, he said, I always love hanging out with you because like you put words together that other people don't put together. I was remarking and telling everybody about the architecture in DC because I love architecture. So there's this convergence of neoclassical, like the beautiful, like what
Filigree
you
type
think
of.
of like the Jefferson Monument or
Yes,
something like that.
yes.
And then you think that the sort of what I would say slightly ugly brutalist architecture of like the 1970s, 60s. I don't know exactly when it came about, but like that sort of industrial, but like I would call it retro industrial.
Yeah,
as
it's like
a
the
brutalist.
simple lines. It's not.
But
it's not
looks
made
like
pretty.
a block. Just like it's not very
Yeah.
pretty. Anyway, so the Hubert Humphrey building, not the most aesthetic from an architectural standpoint, but we went. That's not what people want. This is not the tea. Basically, I
But
don't
it
know
is
how to
the-
get the
it
tea.
is-
I'm
it
giving
is
you.
the tea
I'm giving
that
you
I
rabbit
want.
trails about architecture and my order at True Food Kitchen.
We love it though.
This
We
is
love
the tea
it.
that I want.
Oh man, this is why my wife, when I get on the phone, she's like, "Just get to the point, Will."
So on to the band.
Okay, so we get to the band, right? We show up, and Kelly Means, who's also been in the podcast, listen to that episode. He said, "Will, go up on stage and sit up there." I'm like, I was planning on just being in the audience, right?
Yeah.
Like, who am I? I'm in
Thank
functional
God
medicine.
we made sure you had a good suit. Like,
Yes.
truly.
So I got to sit up on stage when the FDA commissioner, Dr. Martin Macri, and Bobby Kennedy announced the phasing out of artificial food dyes from the U.S. food supply. Look, TBD on how this exactly rolls out. This is all moving pretty quickly as far as DC goes.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of moving parts, and we're speaking in real time at this point. But it was a monumentous, I think, point in American history when it comes to our food supply and American health, where we have the agencies now, at least for the time being, are really advocating for the health of the American people and not big food and big pharma. So it was really special. And I got to play a very, very, very small part of it, of just raising awareness, I guess, since we went to Battle Creek, Michigan, outside of Kellogg's. And this was sort of the culmination of it, at least the next phase of the culmination of it, but more to do, right? This is just the beginning. But it's starting to, what are the no-brainers? What are the things that should be pretty uncontested? Because if you look at comparable, like the FDA's equivalents in other countries, like the EU, and many countries within the EU, either require a warning label or they're outright banned, these artificial petroleum-based food dyes. So it's something that I think was poignant and symbolic, because it's something that should bring most people together, that it's, okay, yeah, it's like if you're looking at the comparable countries within the EU, these are either banned or require warning labels. They are associated with behavioral problems in kids. We know that about 15 million children have a diagnosable mental, emotional, or behavioral disorder. It's linked to autoimmune problems. We know 50 million Americans have an autoimmune disease. We know it's linked to cancer in different in vitro and rat studies. So it's just taking a precautionary, when they're not providing any nutritional benefit, it's just for coloring. It's for advertising purposes only. This is something that should be a bipartisan, non-political thing. I was wrong. I knew I was wrong. But that's the intent behind it, is what I'm trying to say, is that was the intent. Okay, then we can get in the weeds where we can have a robust, healthy, free speech debate about different things and decide what's best. But this is something that I thought was a good first step, one of the first steps to make within HHS, because it's something that should be universal. But when you talk about anything today, you're going to have people that are just so deeply tribal and contrarian, they're going to disagree with pretty much anything. Someone could have the cure for cancer, and if it was the wrong person, they would poke holes in that cure for cancer. So that's how the world is today. It's just this constant smug takedown, bullying on social media and within the mainstream media. But actually, I have to say, the mainstream press was pretty positive. It's mainly just the pontificators on social media that want to say, yeah, but, and want to be these contrarian Karens perpetually on social media. But yeah, that's within that question is, okay, what is this just political theater? It's just vibes, is how some people put it, because it wasn't an outright ban. So what's the story behind it? Well, it's a multi-step process. I already talked to the HHS, so it's coming straight from the sources' mouths at dinner the night afterwards, that there's a multi-step process. And we're talking about the head of the FDA, the head of Medicare, Medicaid, the head of NIH, and the head of HHS. So there's a multi-step process. Step one is educate the American people.
Yes.
So many people don't even know what's in their food.
Right.
So it's raising, and we've already seen an explosion, which is something, again, that should unify people. That regardless of what you think politically, this is raising ingredient literacy. On at least empowering people to make decisions for themselves. Is this right for me or not? Many people are buying things because that's what they've always bought, and they don't realize what's even in the label. There's people that I go to church with, and I thought, okay, they're friends with me. They would know what artificial food dyes were, and they weren't good. It wasn't until I started talking about it more publicly and consistently, because of these state and federal movements as far as food policy is concerned, that they realized, oh, wow, I didn't even know it was a bad thing. Okay, if they don't know, there's a lot of people that don't know.
100%.
So, so that's good. So even before any legislation, changing the hearts and minds of people to make more informed decisions and voting with their dollar is important. The second thing is they have already talked with the food industry, and what they have been told by the food industry is they're going to comply and really phase this out, because guess what? They're already doing it in other countries.
Right.
Yes.
They
already have the recipe. They already have the technology. It's just a matter of copy and pasting what they're doing in Norway in the United States. The second thing is, if the food industry doesn't comply, or a food company doesn't comply, they already have steps in place to facilitate the removal of artificial food dyes. It's a done deal. It's just a matter of what path the food industry or food companies want to take. And yeah, so that's sort of the take on it. They wouldn't have made that announcement based on political theater. These are people's careers on the lines.
Yeah.
If you know any of these guys, Marty Makary, the head of the FDA, RFK, this is not political theater. There's nothing about theatrics about this. This is something that's serious, but something that takes time. And having that come to fruition, they just want to be transparent and inform the American people what this process is looking like. Mm-hmm. And it has to. And I agree with all the, naysayers out there in the sense of this can't just be just that, right? We cannot, it's not just about artificial food dyes. These are complex, nuanced topics when you're talking about the health of the American people and the food industry. No one is saying, well, this is it, and this is going to solve all the world's woes when we remove red dye 40 from the American food supply. But we have to start somewhere. So can't we come together instead of saying, well, the what about isms, like this is more important than artificial food dyes, or that's more important than artificial food dyes. We get it.
Right.
We all have our list of things that are important. Right. We're making a move. And I guess there were no significant moves when you're talking about root cause and the quality of our food supply, and just wait until we see what rolls out in Big Pharma, TBD on that. Like there's never been conversations about the actual benefit, like what is the best interest of the American people. And I truly believe these doctors, largely Johns Hopkins doctors like Dr. Makary, and the other doctors that they have around them from mainstream institutions have an interest in functional medicine, or either in functional medicine. Dr. Mark Hyman was there with me on stage. So we're talking about mainstream doctors that are within functional medicine, that are also within federal agencies now, that actually want to make positive change. So I know we're not going to win everybody over because some people are just so addicted to the dopamine hits they get on their Instagram videos. But for the rest of us that put our people and the quality of food above our tribalism, I think this is a unifying thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah. I have a funny anecdotal story about that because obviously my husband, my kids, they're very, they know what's going on in this political space, and I obviously am really proud of you. So I talk a lot about your travels and different things that you're doing. And my 13-year-old, my youngest, he was really funny. And we were talking about food dyes because again, I want to develop kids that have their own opinions, and if he doesn't end up agreeing with me someday about certain aspects, that's all. He needs to grow into an adult. Mm-hmm. However, I do think he should be educated on why this is important, because this isn't just going to influence him. It's going to influence his kids he wants to have someday. Yeah. And I think that that's really important to talk about, and talk about what we've seen, the decline of health within our nation and what that looks like and why you're there. And I was like, this one's specifically around food dyes. And he was like, and I'm like, they're talking about banning them. And he goes, oh. And this is the first time I've seen him sort of like cantankerous about this. Mm-hmm. He goes, so everything's going to be the same color? I was like, no. I just thought it was so funny from this 13-year-old perception. Yeah. He's like, won't that be boring? I go, no, honey, they'll just use things that aren't going to make you sick to make it a color. Yep. I was like, this isn't about... Like this, that's the funniest part of all of this is it's being done in other countries already. This is not a new thing. And we're not saying we want everybody to be eating brown food. And if you are only eating brown food, where are your nutrients coming from? But it's like, there's this conversation in his little 13-year-old mind. He's like, what color are my chips going to be? Like, it's just funny. Yeah. And I was like, and then as soon as I explained it was going to be colored, it just would be with natural food dyes. He was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, why can't everybody have that attitude? I'm slightly confused. I'm now informed, and now we can move on. It's like, it was cool to see a 13-year-old sort of process. Yeah. What does the removal of his food dyes mean? And I'm like, well, you won't be getting that crap out of the junk food out of the vending machine that you tell me that you don't eat. Like those are the sort of things that I now as a parent have to worry about less. It's not, he's going to not have no seed oils, or he's definitely, he's getting things at school. He's getting things at friends' houses when he's going out to eat. In our house, it looks a little bit different, but this is one less thing as a parent that I'm going to have to worry about. If this is something that we actually see to fruition, that's really encouraging. And to watch his little mind process that it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was a big deal in the long run for health was really cool. And I just wish that, adults could act like that.
Yeah. The biggest thing that irks me is that this is already being done. Like these food industry companies literally already have, like you said, the recipe. They're doing this in other countries.
Yeah.
So it's already annoying in that sense of like, man, why can't we just be doing this? But again, to the people who are like, well, this is just theatrics. It's like my comment to that, and not to this person because they were just saying this is what they were hearing, was, well, then what are you doing about it, right? What are you doing?
Yeah,
you try it, right?
Most of them are just saying, I'll say this frankly, bitching on social media. That's what they're doing.
It's true. Yeah. And to me, it's like, okay, this is theatrics, but you're not theatrics, right? Like that's where
believe me, you're bitching on social media. It's quite theatrical.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how long you spent proofing what you were about
it's like
to
what's
comment.
Like Brene Brown. It's like the nosebleed. Like you're not actually in the forum. You're in the nosebleed seats, pointing fingers at people that are actually doing things for good.
And people think that they can't do anything about it, but this is proof that you really can.
Yeah.
Right. And that to me is my main comment there is like, it's not theatrics. Okay. It's, if anything, it's people who are just standing up. You didn't necessarily ask to go and be a part of this, but you started vocalizing it. You've spent years
and I think
educating on it and talking about it that.
And I never thought the day would happen where we would have a convergence of functional medicine and nutrition, real nutrition, not bought and sold nutrition, true independent free thinking nutrition, diversity of thought, free speech converging with food policy and health policy.
So exciting.
Pretty powerful.
So exciting.
Such a blessing.
Very, very excited about it. All right, Dr. Cole, on to the next question. Although I am going to ask you more about your True Foods meal later because I'm hungry. So question number 2 is from Brittany. She said, Dr. Cole, what are your thoughts on tattoos and tattoo removal? Is it causing more harm to the body by doing the removal process, or is it better to leave them alone? If you are for the removal process, any recommendations for protocol to do before or after?
Okay.
Or both.
So this is maybe a little bit controversial, especially because I'm sitting at a table with 2 people with quite a bit of tattoos as they cover them up.
What are you talking about?
This is marker.
All right. So they're both, they're both quite inked, and I am not. But let's talk about some studies.
We've tried. It is not for lack of us trying to get you to get a small.
I'm pretty sure last week I tried to convince you to go get a tattoo with me.
It's not going to happen.
No, I know.
Okay, so here's some studies. All right.
Oh, I'm gonna hate this. I already know this. I'm literally gonna cringe.
Let me just say this. They got most of their tattoos, most of them, before functional medicine. Okay, I'm trying to throw you a bone here.
I know you are, but I want to be honest and real about it.
I thought most of them were. No.
No, I mean, I've worked with you for 15 and a half years. So
my timeline's off. I thought to me, I met you and you were born inked.
Okay, first off, you have known me since I was born. So whole other conversation. But I have had, the larger pieces that I have are definitely from my early to mid 20s.
I would agree.
So they were probably...
I was probably about halfway.
Okay. Wow.
There's
no excuse.
It was the very early stages.
It just shows you that people are on their own health journey. You cannot judge them. They have to learn on their own. So now they will learn.
We listen
in
and
front
we
of
don't
hundreds of thousands of people. All right. Yes. Yeah. We listen and we don't judge. Well, I listen and sometimes I judge a little.
Oh, no. Lots of judgments.
I have lots of statistics. Let me get to them right now.
This is his burning education moment.
I asked this question so I can
You're Brittany.
Okay, Brittany.
But anyways, I do have.
Is that who answers?
Yes, I do. I do have to point out you actually lectured me far more than my grandma. So you have felt this way for a very long time.
What can I say?
All right, let's get into it.
Here's a rundown of some studies. This is a study published in 2023. It was called. It doesn't matter. It's an analytical approach. It's sort of a summary of studies. Tattoo inks can contain heavy metals such as aluminum, copper, iron, cobalt, with concentrations varying from color and brand, which I do remember talking to you about that.
I went with more
you
organic,
did research
natural.
some, yes, I do remember that now. So copper, but in this one study, copper exceeded EPA limits, which we know is already kind of shaky, in some inks. So it exceeded EPA standards. But I would say we would have stricter guidelines, and the Environmental Working Group would have stricter guidelines. Cobalt exposure linked to oxidative stress and cytotoxicity or cell toxicity, potentially causing nerve damage. This other study was in Scientific Reports in 2017. Tattoo ink nanoparticles of titanium, aluminum, chromium, and nickel migrate to lymph nodes, raising concerns about immune system impacts and potential toxicity. There's other studies looking. It was 2024 out of Binghamton University. Found 45 of 54 inks from 9 U.S. brands contain unlisted additives like polyethylene glycol and 2-phenyl oxyethanol linked to side effects such as nausea, diarrhea, and potential health risks. There's another study looking at, I'm belaboring this because I'm just showing different studies. 2024 Lund University, tattoo exposure associated with 21% increased risk of malignant lymphoma, possibly due to carcinogenic chemicals, aromatic amines. So it's not even the active ingredients, it's these unlisted ingredients like aromatic amines, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and inks. But here's getting to the point. So you get my point. There's a lot of studies looking at the potential toxicity of inks, varying from brand to brand, certainly, but the potential migration into lymph nodes, the unlisted additives potentially having its own problem. So there's that confluence of different variables. But I thought this was interesting in this study. Out of the Archives of Toxicology in 2019, laser removal may release additional heavy metals into the tissue. So similarly to biological dentistry, without proper removal of amalgam silver fillings, right, mercury fillings, could potentially be worse taking them out improperly than just leaving them in. So this isn't the same as an amalgam filling, but it's like the tattoo's already there. It's already sitting in the body. Disturbing it, creating more of a leaching out into the body could actually make things worse. So I would be interested in more studies here. The caveat, the context of all of these studies. Causation doesn't necessarily equate with correlation, or other way around, meaning just because these are correlated with increased numbers, there's a lot of variables there. Each study has its own flaws, right? So none of these is definitively cause effect, and the science is settled. The science is not settled here. And there's a lot of variables. I have to say, I do have some experience here because we've tested a lot of people. And we do see heavy metals and environmental toxins. Now, these non-active ingredients, we don't have biomarkers for every single ingredient within tattoo ink. So I don't have data on all of that.
Yeah.
Like these polyaromatic amines and hydrocarbons, I don't have access to biomarkers for it. But the main heavy metals we do, and we do see them high in people, but they're high in people that aren't tattooed and people that are tattooed. And I have tested Andrea's heavy metals, and your heavy metals weren't high.
No, I just had them retested recently too, and they weren't high. I had no mercury, no lead, no copper.
Yeah.
And I have tattoos that have red in them, which are one of the ones that tend to be the more toxic
so I think
ones.
this shows
Those
you,
ones were before I knew.
But this is someone that works on detox pathways, works on gut health, works on methylation.
Right.
So it's like, if somebody doesn't do that, could they be more prone?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on it, is that if you're thinking of removing the tattoo from an aesthetic standpoint, I just would really be supporting detox pathways, taking a binder, supporting your gut health, supporting your metabolic health, supporting your detox pathways.
We have a lot of great supplements on the Art of
Yeah,
Being Well
if you
that
want to
you
do it
don't
on
even
your
have
own,
to see someone to do that.
It's
Exactly.
almost like how when we recommend like the filling removal, like
we
we
have whole
recommend.
protocols for
Now,
that.
granted, I doubt that there are any functional medicine
Tattoo
removal.
Well, actually, if all the entrepreneurs out there,
Hey, that's a niche that might be needed,
Hey,
right?
they have hair washing stations now. We could definitely
we could find someone to make that work.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but it is almost like supporting that same type of detoxification they do that with binders and opening up the pathways a little bit more to help make sure that, if anything is leaked or whatnot, and they do the best to not have that happen. But that's kind of how I think about it. But so you're saying I should just keep my tattoos?
Yes, I would say yes. I would say keep your tattoos. Don't get any more, because when I hear you guys talking about that, I'm like, no.
I think I might be getting more.
Why?
But like not a lot. Just not a lot.
No,
but like just like
I'm going to
One
plead
more?
the fifth in this.
No.
one more.
No, it's done.
I'm pleading the fifth. But I will say this.
You're a mom of 3. Stop it.
Right, I have one for each, and I haven't gotten the third one yet.
Just
it's
pick,
unfair.
Pick one of the 30 and say it's for them.
I'm pleading the fifth. But I will say this, and this is just an anecdotal thought and I've never had any of my tattoos removed. It would be a lot of work to even think about that.
I can't imagine the pain. Like that.
That was my point, is that this tattoo process removal is incredibly painful. And we know that can be a stressor to the body just as much as anything else.
Yeah.
And so putting yourself through physical pain.
So it depends on how big that tattoo is. And
Yeah, I mean, it would be, I have over 30 hours of work. So I can only imagine it's not just one laser and then you're done. It's like multiple sessions within that to get it removed fully, depending on how much black and how big it is.
I knew somebody that had I think around their arm, they actually got their skin cut off and sewn together.
I'm so sorry. What?
Yes.
Why?
Because they wanted to remove a tattoo, and that's how they did it.
I think it was connected to like a past relationship, and it was like the very dark part of their life that they wanted. Okay, so I don't know why they didn't go through the tattoo removal. I didn't know them that well.
Or you just tattoo over it. I mean, like there's a million and one things.
Yes.
That's not the route that I would choose.
That's not a typical course of action. I would say I haven't met anybody since then that got that done.
To me, then that speaks to a very. Again, this now you want to get into
the functional
medicine.
It wasn't even that big of a tattoo. It was interesting, but
we'll just get it.
You guys, don't ask me the details. I saw the aftermath. It wasn't pretty.
And you're still going to have a scar, which would still remind you of the tattoo.
I know. Gosh. I have a lot of questions. I don't know why I brought it up.
I do too. I have a lot. But what my whole point is that you could take, for me, like with someone with autoimmunity, is it worth the literal dozens of hours of pain that I'd have to sit through that could potentially be a trigger?
But it might look better though, aesthetically.
Oh my gosh. No, we're not going there.
Yeah, there's one
Mom.
That
Thank you. I like them in my wedding dress, Mom. I'm okay, Grandma. I'm okay.
From
I still feel feminine.
From a different world now.
I can't.
Thank you. Thank you. Unless you're a rock star.
I am. I'm a functional medicine rock star.
Okay? I have to say this, that I do think, not you guys per se, but that's besides the health, which health is my number one, the number two is I think it's symptomatic of our culture's sort of glamorization of people that live a different life. They are rock stars. Rock star is not a secretary at a dentist's office. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like our culture glamorizes these people that are like, oh yeah, Machine Gun Kelly is covered in tattoos. Yeah, he's Machine Gun Kelly. He doesn't work.
Are you talking to your son right now?
He doesn't work at Target.
Yeah.
No, at the end of the day, I think it's just like people who dye their hair and wear different eccentric clothes. It's a form of expression, and I like it. And I don't
and I think there's
it.
artistry. I think the tattoo artists themselves are beautiful, but like put it on a painting.
No, I like it. I like it where it's at, and I will absolutely because of this conversation be getting more.
Oh my gosh!
Actually, we're scheduled to go,
and you are too. And
no, I'm not.
You're gonna get a little Disney mouse. You're gonna get.
I'll think about that. Just kidding.
All right, take us into the next.
Okay. All right, on we go. All
Onward
right.
and upward.
All right, so I've been hearing a lot of information about AirPods not being good for you. Oh man, these are some good questions today. What are your thoughts? And if you don't like them, can you recommend a healthier alternative that provides noise canceling and is good for phone calls?
Okay. So there are some studies around this. There's a study in Scientific Reports in 2024 that saw prolonged daily use of Bluetooth headsets, such as AirPods, was strongly linked to an increased risk of developing thyroid nodules, potentially due to EMF exposure. The mechanism's not clear there. Another study multiple studies cited by Moskowitz, which is in bioelectromagnetics. It's ongoing research currently done right now. Low intensity microwave radiation from Bluetooth devices like AirPods may open the blood-brain barrier, the protective sheath around the brain, potentially allowing toxins to reach the brain, which could contribute to conditions like autism, dementia, or brain cancer. This is something that we quantify on labs, blood-brain barrier permeability. It's a blood test. Mm-hmm. We can measure the proteins that govern blood-brain barrier protection and integrity. Sperm quality impairment. This was in a 2014 study. EMF exposure from wireless devices was associated with increased DNA damage, DNA breaking, and impaired motility in human sperm, though findings are inconsistent and are not directly linked to AirPods, but are associated. There's other studies looking at 5G and the potential carcinogenic effects. This is a European Parliament research in 2021. Commonly used radio frequencies that AirPods, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth do emit, probably carcinogenic according to the European Parliament research report, probably carcinogenic and may affect male fertility and embryonic development though human evidence is limited. So all of this, again, why it's so important that independent research like this that's inconvenient to big industries are done. Animal studies have been done in this National Toxicology Program 2018, high exposure in rats that are typical for AirPods and Wi-Fi levels. So let's open this up. It's not just about AirPods. This is about Wi-Fi, EMF, phones, devices that emit these frequencies. This animal study showed clear evidence of heart tumors and some evidence of brain tumors, though human extrapolation is uncertain. So, other caveat, causation doesn't necessarily equate with correlation. We talked about that earlier. Some flaws more than others within some of these studies. More studies need to be done. But there's enough compelling evidence that we should do more, all of us, pretty much all of us, unless you're living in a yurt or some commune or an Amish, and you're not listening to this podcast then. But everybody within earshot of this podcast probably should be doing more to minimize the amount of EMFs and exposure to phones, devices, and things like that. I will say this, for years, I used the plug-in headphones, and I still do it when I'm not on the podcast. But for years, I would do it. Any interview I would do, and if I was on a pod or if I was hosting a pod, I would be having the plug-in things. The team, not the patient team, but the tech team, the podcast team, agree, and I agreed with them that it doesn't look as good aesthetically. Horrible reason to do it. But I've been wearing AirPods when I interview people and they're not with me in the same room. I don't like it because I don't use it any other time. But that's my one caveat is in my mind is like I only use it 45 minutes once a week, if that. I batch record because of my patient schedule. So, I could do it more one week and then none for weeks. But that's not a good enough reason. But look, my phone's in my pocket many times.
Right.
Like we do lots of things that we're exposed to things. It's not just about the AirPods. Now there may be extra because it's in your head, sitting in your ear, but that small device, I think the phones are actually more problematic than the AirPods. I could be wrong. I haven't seen data contrary to that. I am conscious of the fact that the location matters, but over time, a phone in a pocket is going to be far more detrimental, and we pretty much all do that. So doing more to mitigate EMFs is important. We have a whole episode about that, actually.
Yeah.
So go back and listen to previous episodes. Go to drwillcole.com. I have lots of free resources. Just type in EMFs on the search engine there. Just free tips. But using like speakerphone whenever you can, getting your phone away from your face, wired headsets whenever you can. That's all that I use other than when I'm recording the pod. But
yeah, I've seen people who literally wear them all day long.
Oh, I know.
My kids.
It's just
all
really?
day long.
Yeah. It's something I think about regularly. And
the caveat is they are a blended family.
We are a blended family. So this is not solely my decision. And so you have to respect that, and all you can do is educate, just like I was educating my 13-year-old about food dyes. And they'll fall asleep with them in their ears. Like I have to go walk in their rooms and take them out of their ears when they're sleeping. But it's not just them. You go to any football game, you go to any sporting event, you see them all. They may not have both of them in, they have one in their ear at all points in time. And it irks me more than I think anything else. So when you're talking about phone consistency, I actually think even if that is true, I'm around my phone far less than I am that being in my ear for 18 hours a day. So if you look at that from that perspective of how long this is in their ears, because they aren't necessarily next to their phone. They may be listening to something or like on their AirPod, but their phone may be on their dresser or they may be watching TV, but it is consistent chronic use. So maybe we're just old enough where we're not seeing it as much. We still like our
detachment.
we like our plugged in, headphones, noise canceling phones.
People make fun of me because when the AirPods came out, it was like, why, Grandpa, are you having that? To me, it was like, okay, I don't want that Wi-Fi Bluetooth in my ear.
In my ear all
day.
And
there weren't even all the studies out, but it just didn't make sense to me. Plus, I'm stuck in my ways too.
Yeah,
like an elder millennial, and I'm like,
But I encourage you next time you guys are around teenagers. It is
Well, I feel like the wired ones have make a comeback, even if for health
I would
purposes.
agree.
Because the pain in the butt. People lose them. People drop them.
I was gonna say
you have to charge them. They're an extra step. Why do you need them?
They're stupid expensive.
I actually have some that came with my MacBook when I bought it, but I barely use them because I never charge them. Everyone knows it. Ask Andrea. I'm like a type B person. I'm so far from type A. It's she can tell you about it, but
I make up for it in my type A.
We balance each other out. We balance each other out. That's for sure. But I never remember to charge them. So they're actually very inconvenient. So I always end up wearing the corded headphones anyways, the wired ones. But
and yes, they get tangled, and yes, it's like a labyrinth when they get tangled. And mine are always tangled.
It's strengthening my brain. Okay,
exactly. It's a brain exercise.
My son, I have an 8-year-old son, so not quite yet a teenager, but he for his birthday or some holiday last year wanted some way to listen to music while he does his work plan, his independent work, just anything like that. And so I bought him an old school iPod, which would be called old school now. It's so funny.
My kid just asked me for one because they're back.
I bought him an old school iPod and EMF blocking, just wired headphones, and he doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love it. Like, he's just like, he doesn't care. And obviously I haven't reached the age where he does care about things yet. So I know that, it's coming. Yeah. But at the same time, it's still possible for them to.
Yeah. And my kids do have wired ones too, because guess what? If you lose it, break it, don't charge it, I'm not replacing it. So have fun. And they do have wired ones. And then they end up having to fight over those because the other one's missing an AirPod.
Yeah. You should just secretly put the AirPods in water.
Owen does listen to this. Okay. So
sorry, Owen.
But
it's the truth.
I love that he listens to this though.
Yeah, he's cute. I like him. But it's funny because I hate them so much and I feel so passionately about it and I talk about it so much that I think sometimes they don't wear them because they're sick of me talking about it. So I do feel strongly, and I know that you do wear them, Dr. Cole, and me, I don't love them. But here I am sitting with my tattoos. So who am I to judge or be a hypocrite?
We listen and we don't judge.
But at the end of the day,
yes, you do. All the listeners out there are like,
we do.
Kind of. Sorry.
But at the end of the day, the thing that I think is most important to consider is what you said. What is your overall consumption of technology? And is it something that you need to be more proactive in how you protect yourself? We have, EMF blocking tents for beds now. There are EMF blocking cases for your phone if you're going to walk around with it up against your chest. There are EMF blocking
Faraday
clothes.
Bags for phones and beds.
100%. Clothes that you can wear on planes. We can still live in this world and be a user of things that potentially are not the most health beneficial, but in some ways are giving us access to people that maybe would never have heard this information to begin with if they didn't have it. So I think it's how you use it and how you move forward that's important, and just making conscious decisions. That's it. Don't sleep with your phone in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Don't
turn your Wi-Fi off at night.
Yeah, we have ours linked to just a light switch.
Yeah, turn your Wi-Fi off at night. Don't sleep with your phone in your room. Like get a landline so people can call you if they need to for emergencies at night. So get more wired things in your life. There's still electrical frequencies there, but it's still limiting.
I want a landline. I
have a landline.
I want one on my wall with like the old
cord, the twisty cord. I don't have that, but I should.
I have one of those phones that I could technically use. I use it for decor, not gonna lie, but it's like it's a family, like, I don't want to call it an heirloom, but kind of.
It was your phone growing up?
It was in my husband's family, so it was like something his grandparents.
Oh, that's
kind of.
sweet. Yeah.
It's such a simple little thing.
Plug it up and.
Yeah, it sits literally like right on the stand when you walk in my door.
Oh,
but
so you use it.
Yeah, I could use it.
And so there are practical ways to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is.
All right, next question.
All right, Dr. Cole, question number 4. This one's from Mallory. She says, caffeine and energy drinks. Have you covered this on your podcast? Red Bull, Alani, Celsius, First Form, Monster. There are so many energy drinks and pre-workouts now. I wonder, are there any actually good for you? I don't let my kids have them, but their friends drink them. Some have multiple a day. I have so many thoughts. How much is too much caffeine for kids and adults? What does it do to our heart? I would love to hear your take. Thanks, Mallory.
Well, Mallory, we have the caffeine to consider, and we have the sugar or the artificial sweeteners and all the other additives. So let's look at them. Let's look at some studies. This is the Journal of the American Heart Association in 2019 found that energy drinks increased systolic and diastolic blood pressure, altered electrical activity, prolonged QTC intervals, basically heart electrical rhythms, raised risk of arrhythmias, and potentially in those with particularly in those with heart conditions. So in people that have already a fragility there. Another study published in 2021, the high sugar content in energy drinks reduces intestinal bacterial diversity, increasing obesity, type 2 diabetes. The caffeine decreases insulin sensitivity because it's just too much caffeine for most people. There's studies of liver damage. This was an observational study, highly elevated liver enzymes in a woman and a 36-year-old man indicating acute liver injury. There is a study here that I want to find here that I thought was really interesting. Okay, yeah. This is a 2021 study. A 40-year-old man developed acute renal insult, 5-fold increase in serum creatinine.
Wow.
Kidney marker. After 2 to 3 weeks of daily energy drink consumption. After just 3 weeks of daily having energy drinks. But there was it was completely reversible upon cessation. So it completely reversed when they quit it.
Does it say how long?
No.
Okay.
Mental health and behavioral issues, the caffeine toxicity. I mean, it goes on and on. There are studies, reports that it's just not great for the body, right? The caffeine amount ranges, right? But it's not just about the caffeine. We're talking about this entourage cocktail effect, if you will, of these different ingredients. Red Bull has about 80 milligrams of caffeine. Monster has 160 milligrams.
Wow.
Rockstar has 160 milligrams. 5 Hour Energy, which is those little shots, has 200 milligrams.
Oh my.
Bang Energy has 300. They're all trying to outdo each other. Like more. Bang Energy has 300 milligrams of caffeine. Prime Energy has 200 milligrams of caffeine. But that's just the caffeine. It's all this other stuff combined with the caffeine, like even guarana and these sort of other additives, that can hide some of the added caffeine because that's added sort of a plant extract that has caffeine in it. And then the sugar. So I'm not a fan of them.
That's
I mean, there are natural, better for you versions of them out there, but the human body wasn't meant to consume this much of these things.
What happened to a good cup of green tea?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you want a little pick me up?
Black tea, green tea, white tea, pu'er tea, oolong tea, they're all from Camellia sinensis. So they all have different varying degrees of caffeine depending on, and then how much you brew them, right? How long do you brew them? How much water are you adding? And what's the tea bag to water ratio? But the black tea, which is typically the highest, which oolong and pu'er are also black tea historically, 40 to 70 milligrams of caffeine. It gets the job done. But you're not, but it's balanced with L-theanine, which a lot of these energy drinks will put these vitamins and L-theanine in it to make it look
with all the other junk.
Yeah, but it's like the junk. Plus, it's not a way to do it. Get it in its whole food form or a supplement form without all this added junk in it. And coffee has it ranges depending on the type of coffee, right? Is it cold brew? Is it not? But it's from 95 milligrams to 200 milligrams. So it can be on the higher side with like a nitro cold brew.
Yeah. But still, even if you need more of the caffeine throughout the day, just have some coffee. Just a black cup of coffee. If you don't want to do the tea, like those things have so much more junk and just awful ingredients in them. But you want to know something crazy is when I was in college, I used to compete in speech and debate, which nerd alert, okay? But I used to have like 3 5-hour energy shots like every time I would compete.
Emily.
Because they were like all day long events. You started so early and you went so late.
I did speech meet too, and I did not do that. So
yeah, I mean, this was like nationwide competitions. So you were traveling a lot. So I would just chug those 5-hour energy shots, and this was before I knew any better. But yeah, I think about that now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
it's like culture. It's such a culture thing. You probably didn't need it. You had youth. You had youth on your side. You didn't need you weren't a 45-year-old truck driver going through the night. You were a 17-year-old high school student. But it's probably like all your friends
felt like it needed to be amped up too, you know. But it just wild. I can't believe it.
For me, I think it is culturally. Again, obviously now this is my job. I have very strong feelings about these, especially the additives that they have. But I think about back when I was in college, and now, yes, that was quite a long time ago, but this is when vodka and Red Bull became a thing. So not only are you putting an extreme amount of sugar and caffeine, you're now mixing it with alcohol. Who thought of that? That was terrible.
Well, speaking
and then Four Locos and
what's Four Locos?
Oh, that's so cute. It's alcohol mixed with caffeine.
Oh,
yeah. It got banned for a while because it actually
brought it back after the ban.
Well, they brought it back
without caffeine,
and then they had to no one wanted it.
How do you guys know about like the details of Four Locos?
Because I used to chug them, baby. Are you kidding me?
While you're getting those damn tattoos.
Actually, that's probably where some of my tattoos I don't love to show come from. But anyways,
Emily's getting embarrassed.
I'm blushing now. Thank you. But that's cute that you don't know.
I don't know, guys. So I was an old soul my whole life.
You were.
I was reading about health and teaching myself.
Better for you.
But but the thing that scares me is that, and not to throw my kids under the bus or anything like that.
Well, this whole episode has been a lot of throwing your kids under the bus.
So sorry. We're gonna have a therapy session the next time we're here. Bring the kids on.
About that. They'd actually probably love it. But as far as what I've seen with not just them, but with their friends, I don't remember being 13, 14, 15 years old and ever thinking I could have something with that much caffeine in it. I just know my parents, it would never have been allowed. I wouldn't have even been allowed a cup of coffee because it was like, oh, well, why do you need that stimulant? And now it's like, they're walking to the local grocery store or the local, gas station, and they're picking up, not like I see them, like even if it's not my kids and I'm driving by, they're walking down the street chugging a Monster at like 11 a.m. And I'm like, what is happening?
When I was at Coachella, there was lots of Red Bull sponsorships, and they were handing Red Bull drinks out, probably with alcoholic drinks too.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I was like, it's not appealing at all.
No,
like, why would I want some cherry gasoline? Like I don't have any interest in that.
And I get it. Like how, and it can become addictive. You're like, I'll even, talk to patients or that are drinking excessive amounts of coffee, even like not even just energy drinks. And it's like, are you actually fatigued, or are you just so used to being so hyped up that you actually don't know what normal is now? And you should be tired at certain parts of the day. Come 8 p.m., you should be winding down. You shouldn't be like trying to push
So much
through
of this
till
is
midnight.
people don't prioritize their sleep. It's like you're
100%.
Just go to bed.
Go to bed. You're tired, baby. Go to bed.
Tired. Girly pop. Lay your head down.
Slow
my God.
down, baby girl. Go to bed.
But I think that that's the deeper conversation, right? It's not this person's asking, Mallory's asking, like, can we have a healthy alternative? Yeah, pick up a cup of green tea or
tea,
pick up a black cup
coffee
of
if you
coffee.
need
I'm
it.
sipping some green tea. You're sipping green tea. What do you have in there?
I just got some hot water, you know.
Oh, so
Our caffeine days, well, they're not over, but
Yeah.
after the morning they are.
And that's the whole point.
That's the thing. Look, exactly. That's how you do it.
You prioritize sleep. Make sure that you're getting proper sleep, making sure you're getting off all of your electronics 1 to 2 hours before bed. You don't need a giant Monster energy drink 3 times a day to survive. And if you do, call us because you need a consult. Just saying.
Yeah.
And there it is.
There it is. All right. What's the next question?
This is
right.
our final question.
Yes. Dr. Cole, I would love to hear your thoughts on the newer study about food additive combinations and how it relates to diabetes and other metabolic health issues.
Yeah, so the study has been making its rounds on social media, and it is interesting. It's in PLOS One, the medical journal PLOS One, it's out of France. Food additives. The title of the study is "Food additive mixtures and type 2 diabetes risks results from the Nutrinet Santé cohort." So, what did they look at? They looked at over 104,000. It's a cohort study. Looked at over 104,000 French adults without type 2 diabetes at baseline. And they followed these people for an average of 7.7 years from 2009 to 2021. And they used different methodologies, at least 3 24-hour dietary records, which are linked to detailed food composition databases to quantify exposure to 48 food additives, including emulsifiers, sweeteners, artificial food dyes, preservatives. 5 common additives mixtures were identified using non-negative matrix factorization and k-means clustering. So mathematics, basically quantification. Cox proportional hazard models assessed associated with type 2 diabetes risk, adjusting with confounders like age, sex, BMI, diet quality, and lifestyle factors. So what they found was that the combined synergistic cascade effect, the entourage effect of these additives increased risk of type 2 diabetes, meaning that these ingredients by themselves, like the artificial food dye, the emulsifier, the sweetener, by themselves had their own risk factors. We just talked about artificial food dyes, but a lot of these studies have been done on just the toxicity or the detrimental effect on human health by themselves in isolation. But this study, what the study attempted to do was to look at the combined effect of what does real life look for like most people. Because we know, I mean, what's the statistic? It's like ultra processed foods consist of about 60% of the Western diet, right? And so for some people, a lot more. So, yeah, this was an interesting study that really looked, I think, at the nuance and context of it versus just like this ingredient, that ingredient, this ingredient, that we know this explains why so many people have type 2 diabetes and metabolic problems and fertility issues.
So it's like the Four Loko of
Yeah.
the food ingredients.
I don't know how that would be, but
The combination.
Is that what it is? Okay,
The
got
alcohol.
That's
and
what's
caffeine
dangerous.
it. Yeah,
content.
these are the Four Locos for sure. Emulsifiers, sweeteners, coloring, and preservatives.
Baby, put it down. Put it down.
That works. Four Locos. That's the Four Locos.
Wait, wow. I just did something there.
They did just drop both. Drop both.
Yes,
the Four
please.
Locos, the actual Four Locos, and then this Four Loco from PLOS One. Yeah. Any thoughts, Andrea?
No, I think it just speaks for itself. Like when you start adding more, crap to things, you're going to end up with more disease.
Can you bleep that out, please, Jackson? She just said the C word.
But I'm just...
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, I know. For me, it's just at the end of the day, when you are looking at the state of our nation and you're looking at the state of our patients, and we've been seeing it for a decade and a half now at this point, the more stuff you add that is not natural, the more things that you add and combine together, the sicker you're going to be. And I think we just need to start taking ownership. And this goes back to our very first question about spilling the tea. Like, why is this stuff important? Why is this conversation important? Why are we talking about it on this podcast? Because how can you do better if you don't know better? And this is our opportunity to say no more. I don't want to be sick anymore, and I don't want to consume at least 60% of my diet coming from processed food. I want it to be from real whole food. And I love your shirt today, and it kind of says feed cows grass again. And I love that, because you're not going to find all 4 of those 4 locos in a grass-fed beef patty. Just not. So why are we still having this conversation? Because people still think it's food, and it's not.
Yeah. The American people have they've been a part of a massive experiment
100%.
for the past 50, 60 years at least, if not longer. So time for some change.
Absolutely.
Pancreases and livers are blacking out all over the country.
So
it really is though. It's time for change. And again, it's back to that first question, right? Let's start somewhere.
Look at the rise of cancer, mental health issues.
In young people.
In young people.
Cancers in young people.
Yes.
Cancers in young people, mental health issues at one of its highest it's ever been.
Autoimmune conditions, younger and younger, more often.
Infertility. I mean, at what point do we say enough? And so I just think those studies already confirm what we know and have been seeing, but I love the data, and I love that we can tell people now. Yeah. And it if anything, it should encourage people to start making the choices that matter.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what I would say here is that don't wait to kind of wrap it up in like a big circle. Don't wait until DC, Washington starts making legislation. They're notoriously slow, and there's a lot of red tape and loopholes and conflicts of interest, no matter who's running things. So let's start making empowered decisions now. Start changing your life and your family's life and your friend group's life. Because when you start making changes, we see this all the time with telehealth patients. Like the friend group's like, what? And it's just sparks so many positive change.
100%. And I love it. I love what we do. I love the education. I love seeing people regain their lives. We always say this, vote with your dollar. If you start pushing back on this, they're not going to give you less options. You're just going to have someone that is a good entrepreneur who's going to come out and get you an option that you will buy. There's not going to be a lack of capitalism. You're still going to have really like great foods to buy. It's just going to force them into making things that are not making our nation sick.
Yep. It's good.
Yeah. Well, guys, good episode. Great episode. If you want to learn more about all the things we're talking about today, there's so much further reading at drwillcole.com. So go check it out. It's drwillcole.com. We'll see you next time on The Art of Being Well.
Thank you.